And this segment of the Inland Sports Show is brought to you by Kin Sporting Goods in Norco, #1 in the Inland Empire for team uniforms, sports equipment, and letterman's jackets. Boost Performance Training in Corona. Athletes of all levels and all sports train at Boost. And also ask about the Bass Private School. Paulson Orthodontics in Redlands. Personalized treatment you deserve from an orthodontist you can trust. And what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Inland Sports Show. I'm your host, Pep Fernandez. Thanks for tuning in live on this Wednesday night. It's summertime, but we still have stuff going around the IE. We're going to talk some high school football, some college baseball as well. But before we get to the interviews, make sure you subscribe to the Inland Sports Show YouTube channel, approaching 4,000 subscribers. We'd really love to hit that big number before the football season. And also give this video a like. We love bringing you local content here from the IE. So many great positive stories to share here from our local sports at the high school and college level. A little bit later in the show, we will check in with California Baptist baseball coach Gary Adcock as we preview the Major League Baseball draft, which begins on Sunday. And yes, there is another Lancer that should go pretty high in the draft, so we'll talk to Coach Adcock a little bit later in the show as well. One of our favorite guys in terms of high school coaching is stepping away from the game for a little bit to address a health issue, so we'll talk about that. But first things first, we're going to talk some college football because finally, San Bernardino Valley College has their guy. Nate Turner is the new head football coach for the SBVC Wolverines, and the season now is right around the corner. So a short lead-in, a short ramp to go into the season, but Coach Turner is ready. He's rounding out his coaching staff. He's out there trying to get more players to the team as well, try to grow those numbers, and he's ready for the challenge. It wasn't that long ago SBVC had some really good football teams. They've dipped the last couple of years, but Coach Turner looks like he's the right guy to bring them back to prominence and maybe even compete for a conference championship despite a very tough conference schedule and even non-conference schedule coming up for the Wolverines in 2024. So, without further ado, here is our exclusive interview with Nate Turner, the new head football coach at SBVC. And now join us here on the Inland Sports Show. He's the new head football coach of your San Bernardino Valley College Wolverines. It is Nate Turner. And Coach, first off, congratulations on the new gig.
I appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
So, Coach, for everyone out there, let's give me the quick snapshot of your resume. Where are you from? Where did you play? Where have you coached? So people can kind of get to know you a little bit.
Yeah, so I'm from Los Angeles, California originally. And I played football for John Robinson at UNLV. Before I got a chance to play in the National Football League for the Chargers, the Saints, Mike Riley, North Turner, some of the names. Played with Junior Seau, Rodney Harrison, all those guys, the big names. So got a chance to coach a little bit. I was at Long Beach Poly with Antonio Pierce when I first got into this thing. And then also got a chance to play or coach at the next level, at the junior college level, where I was at LA Southwest College, Moore Park College, a couple other junior colleges, and 3C2A. So this is something I've been looking forward to getting back involved with. I was just at a high school just recently at San Marino High School. So, yeah, it's just a great opportunity for me.
So you're a lifelong football guy. At what point, Coach, in your career, probably as a player, did you think, you know what, I'm going to be a coach someday? Like, I just see myself, being on the sidelines and grooming young men and being a coach. At what point did you kind of figure that out?
Yeah, it's a good question because most of us, we think we're going to play forever, right? And then injuries happen or something happens where we have to find a new path to a profession. So coaching came to me because it's competitive, gives me a chance to still compete, but more importantly, make a difference. You want to have an impact. You want to find what your purpose is. And I think as I was a player, a student athlete, I had coaches that made a difference in my life. And so I'll never forget those guys. Those guys were mentors to me and leaders. And so to have a chance to do something like that was rewarding. And so coaching was a thing for me, and that's what I want to do the rest of my life.
You know, you mentioned Antonio Pierce at Long Beach Poly, of course, the legendary John Robinson. Who are your coaching influences? Who are some of the guys that you kind of pick things up from that you implement in your own style?
Yeah, without schematics, because schematics change through the times, obviously, but it's just how you approach young men. And Cornell Ward was one that was extremely influential to me, is how he approached, inner city at-risk youth that went through the community college levels of football, where some of these kids' hearts are broken when they don't get scholarships out of high school. And then they realize they got to go to community college, and some of those kids come in entitled. They feel like, well, you guys owe me something because I was supposed to go to USC or Notre Dame or whatever, and now I'm here. And then you got kids that are extremely humble, and they feel like this is an opportunity for those kids. But more importantly, it's shaping young men. It's giving those kids an opportunity to see life differently, to see value in themselves again, to pour life, speak life into them through love. And that's what I experienced as a student athlete with Coach Ward. He spoke love into all of us. He called us all his babies. So that was just something that always resonated with me as a coach, father figure to a lot of fatherless young men. So especially in these inner city climates, and so to be a vehicle for some of these kids to not necessarily go to the next level and play in college, but just to learn what it's like to be an adult, to learn what it's like to have a job and have a responsibility and go out in the community and be productive and have something to show for your time under, the coach's purview. You'll remember a coach for the rest of your life, because of the discipline, the work ethic, the adversity, and how to navigate through some of that rough terrain and those life lessons that coaching sport provides for you. So building those relationships and having the ability to do that year in, year out was very attractive to me.
Coach, obviously, Herm Edwards famously said, you play to win the game, right? And I know you're at SBVC to help the Wolverines get some wins, but, just hearing you speak right now, it sounds like you're a coach, you're going to make them better football players, you play to win the game, but it sounds like at the same time, there's bigger goals, there's bigger things, outside of football and to get these young men ready for real life, right? The real world, be outside of football. I mean, as a football coach, is that part of the process, like getting to know them and groom them and, make them better, all around people?
Yeah, I think that's exactly what it is. I think as educators and teachers or coaches, so to speak, we all have the same objective, is to create opportunities for young people to be successful. And I think that football is a byproduct, or sports or winning is a byproduct of the work that we put in to show them what winning looks like. And it's not necessarily on the scoreboard that reflects whether or not we're winners, but how you approach the game, how you approach your classroom. You can win and by getting up early and getting to class on time. You can win by being a good teammate. You can win by being a good person in the locker room, how you are in the community, how you treat people, how you handle conflict resolution. And all the things that life's going to throw at you, you have an opportunity to win or lose every single day. And I don't look at it as losing. I look at it as learning. If we don't learn from it, then we lose. And so there's W's, there's wins and losses in life that we experience. But I think when you have a position like this in leadership and you have a platform, you want to share that message. You want these kids to know that we're going to win on a football field because we're going to be winners as men. We're going to be winners as people. We're going to approach the game of football as winners. We're going to tackle the classroom like we tackle out on the football field. So how we approach life and doing things the right way with purpose and substance and being very intentional is the way you find W's on the football field. You're building the culture. You're building the holistic approach to the game of football. And then football is just the byproduct. Football is just the fun stuff. We go out there with a bunch of winners and we end up winning football games.
All right, Coach, speaking of winning football games, let's talk about the Wolverines. Let's talk about the upcoming season. I know it's kind of a short lead-in to this season. You're trying to ramp up. I probably accelerate a lot of things to get ready for that first game of the year. Here we are, in July. What's at the top of your to-do list? What are you doing right now to get ready for the upcoming year?
Yeah, it's no easy task. I mean, I took the job. I knew that we're going to play against the best talent in the country, in the country. More importantly, California. You got your Mount Sacks, you got your Long Beach Cities, your Cerritos, and those guys, where they host. They boast a roster of over 120 kids. Where we're scrambling around trying to get some kids in here. So our numbers are low right now, and that's mainly because I took over kind of late. Getting in here after the recruiting season. So if there's any other kids out there that hadn't found a home, SBVC is a great spot to start. But yeah, we're definitely getting our kids in here. We're letting them know that they have a football coach, and that it's something that the important part is to be the continuity and the coaching staff. The turnover at SBVC has been tough for our community. And so the goal is to have someone permanently here in this position to build relationships in the community, to have an impact, so that our kids walk away with not just a degree, but they walk away with an experience that they can come back and contribute to as community members. And I think that that's the first order of business, is to find out what the initiative is from the administration, what the community needs, and build my staff around that to accommodate that. And so putting together a staff is priority number one. Some of the staff members that I normally have, they've already taken jobs because they've taken jobs up in January. So we got a good staff here that was some guys and gals that stayed back. So we're looking forward to their contributions to our team this year. But we're still beating the bushes, trying to get some kids over here at SBVC, put the word out and let them know that this is a thriving place. It's trending up in the right direction. We started with a very small group. We're getting the numbers up now, and it's starting to take shape. So I'm really excited what that's going to look like.
So if somebody's watching the show, if they're watching this interview, there's still time. I know it feels like July and it's kind of late, but there's still time, right?
Plenty of time. Yeah, you got all the way up until August. I think August 5th or 12th. We start class, but they can get here immediately. We get them signed up, we get them enrolled, get their ed plan going, and they got plenty of time. The thing that we offer is a small group right now. So you get on our field right away. You play, you learn from some of the best coaches. You get developed, but you also have a chance to compete against some of the best talent in California, and all the facilities that we have. And we got KVCR, we got the talk show with Pep Fernandez, so we got a whole bunch of stuff going over here at SBVC, and we want to share that with our community and our adjacent community. We want kids to know that this is the place to be. We want to win the Valley. We want to make sure that our kids in our area know that we have a premier program that they're building, they're committed to, and you want to be a part of it. So there's plenty of time.
Coach, how would you describe your brand of football? I mean, maybe it depends on the guys you have out for the team, but is there a certain way you want to play? Like you a run-heavy guy, spread them out, score a lot of points, defense first? Like how would you kind of describe your brand of football?
It's easy to say, hey, we don't blow bulbs out the scoreboard, right? we want to score all the points in the world. Of course, you want that, but it's always predicated on what you have in the building, right? So if I got a quarterback that can sling it, and I got some guys that can catch it, and I got a nice a group of guys up front to protect the quarterback, we'll get after it. But if we don't, then we got to be creative and find some other innovative ways to do things. I've been in programs where coaches knew they couldn't compete with teams. They didn't want to, make it a track meet, so they just would run the ball. They'd run the clock and make it a low-scoring game and make it ugly, just based on what they had in the building. My philosophy in regards to scoring points and things like that, I think the best players need to be on defense, because defense can turn into offense. As you know, you get a pick six, that's points. You get a fumble recovery, that's points. You get a short field, we get a good kicker, we get points out of that. So best players definitely need to be on defense, and then we'll put some guys on offense to kind of try to keep up with some of these fast high octane teams. But for the most part, we want to build a team that competes at the high level, can manage the clock and be smart and take advantage of some of the weaknesses. We want to exploit teams. We want to put a quality team out there that shows that they are physical, they're tough, and they're going to fight all the way through the end. and they're going to do it together. And that's more the identity that I want. I want people to see when they see SBVC on the opposite sideline.
And Coach, finally, what was your first impression of SBVC once you got there? Including the facilities. Like, what was your first impression about the program?
Like you mentioned, the facilities did stand out. I see that this place has a lot to offer, but I also think that the people that they work with, the support that they have here on campus. Once you get on campus, you get a ton of support. We've got the huddle. We've got counselors ready. We've got student support. We've got resources from EOP&S, financial aid. We have programs like Emoja program. We've got the Promise program through, some of the local community efforts that we do here on campus. We've got so much to offer our students, and not just our student athletes, but our students, that it's really, really impressive. So to see that type of support that we have, any kid will be lucky to come in here and take advantage of a 2-year program to prepare themselves for the next level, maybe a trade, maybe, getting a degree from here and going out into the workforce. But more importantly, their experience when they're here on campus, they're going to be met with a ton of support from our athletic department to our academic services, our student services department, and along the line. We had a new president, Dr. Contreras, came over from Fullerton. Really excited what he's going to bring to our program, not just football or athletics, but entirely, his vision. So really excited with the new direction that they're headed in, and any kid will be excited also once they get here.
Well, Coach, congratulations on the gig. I really appreciate being able to talk with you and kind of, pick your brain a little bit about what the Wolverines might look like and your background and whatnot. We're really excited for the upcoming football season, and can't wait to see you in person out there on the sidelines out at SBVC.
Thanks for having me, Pep. Appreciate it. Look forward to seeing you soon.
You got it. That's Nate Turner, the head football coach of your San Bernardino Valley College Wolverines, here on the Inland Sports Show. And this segment of the Inland Sports Show is brought to you by Kin Sporting Goods in Norco, #1 in the Inland Empire for team uniforms, sports equipment, and Letterman's jackets. Boost Performance Training in Corona. Athletes of all levels and all sports train at Boost. And also ask about the Bass Private School. Paulson Orthodontics in Redlands. Personalized treatment you deserve from an orthodontist you can trust.
Thank God, first of all. I thank the great people that I've got around me that help support me, the people that work for me. As I started, if it wasn't for the people around me, we probably wouldn't be here right now, but I've got a great staff. I've got great people that do stuff for us outside the store, and we've been very, very fortunate. Our service is impeccable, and we just keep trying to get better every year. We can do online stuff for your teams, as well as, like I said, the screen printing, the embroidery. We also have 3 women that do extra sewing for us, like tackle tool on uniforms, or the bling or rhinestones for different shirts for the ladies. That's why we have certain racks just for certain schools, and the fun about that is that it turns into other schools that may come in here that aren't as close, that we can do stuff for them as well. We've had very, very good customers throughout the years, and it's just been a blast.
Is it important to have your kid on the A team? Absolutely not. If you have some serious goals for a young athlete, don't forget to focus on the bigger picture. Instead of trying to get them on the A team, focus on finding them a good coach. Coaches who attract the best players aren't always great developers, whereas a coach who can instill what your child needs to reach their potential, that's priceless. Boost man.
The Inland Sports Show is proud to partner with Dr. Marcus Paulson and Paulson Orthodontics in Redlands. Dr. Paulson and his team work with children, teens, and adults using orthodontic products like traditional braces and Invisalign to make a difference in the appearance, comfort, and function of each patient's teeth. Paulson Orthodontics welcomes new patients, so schedule a visit today. Paulson Orthodontics. We make braces fun. And welcome back to the Inland Sports Show, everybody. Make sure you give this video a like and subscribe to the channel as we lead into our next interview. The Major League Baseball Draft is starting on Sunday. And CBU has a long tradition of guys going to the pros, and the Lancers should have another guy going pretty high in the Major League Baseball Draft. That is Mitch Simon, the home run king for the Lancers. Career mark in home runs. He broke it this year for CBU as a senior, so he's getting ready for the Major League Baseball Draft. And if you look at recent history, they've had a lot of guys get drafted and you know, go pro, and a couple of them even made it to the big leagues. Of course, Trevor Oakes out of Woodcrest Christian, and then, well, Tyson Miller is in the big leagues right now. He's with the Chicago Cubs again, so he's had a long major league career, and he's in the big leagues right now. So Mitch Simon looks to be the next Lancer in line to be drafted, go pro, and who knows, maybe make it to the big leagues. There's a lot of Lancers right now in the minor leagues, including our guy Damon Keith. Remember Damon Keith? He's in the Dodgers system right now at AA, star for Redlands East Valley, big-time star again for CBU. So he's trying to make his way up the ladder in the Dodgers system, which is tough because there's so many great prospects in the Dodgers farm system. So anyways, with all that said, here is Gary Adcock, the Hall of Famer, talking more about CBU and the Major League Baseball Draft, which begins on Sunday. Inland Sports. And now join us here on the show. He is the skipper of your CBU Lancers. It's the one and only, the hometown hero, the Hall of Famer, Gary Adcock. And Coach, I want to talk to you about the MLB Draft coming up this weekend and what that means for your CBU baseball program. But first, we've talked about that before, but congratulations on the Riverside Sport Hall of Fame. How special was that night to be, be celebrating your hometown like that?
What a neat night. I was really appreciative of being included in that group, and special in so many ways, but having my mom be able to be there, was neat. My family, it was a good night.
Well, Coach, you're a Hall of Famer. You've coached a lot of great players. Obviously, as the head coach of the Lancers, you've seen a lot of guys go pro. We have the Major League Baseball Draft, which will kick off on, I believe it's Sunday night this coming weekend. Mitch Simon, obviously a big home run hitter. He's a run producer for you guys. We're going to hear his name called as we look ahead to the Major League Baseball Draft. What are your thoughts on Mitch Simon and where he might end up?
Mitch is an interesting one. Mitch could have been drafted last year. Everybody wanted to draft him last year, but he didn't feel he was ready to go out yet. Felt he had some unfinished business collegiately. And so last year, I think one day of a vacation, my poor wife dealt with, I think I had 18 calls from major league teams asking why he wouldn't sign. Why is he not signing? Why does he not want to go? And so this year, a lot of those people have come back. So I'm guessing as a senior sign, probably maybe somewhere in that 7 to 10 range, somewhere in there would be my guess. You'd lose some leverage when you're signing as a senior. So a lot of people sometimes are looking for maybe some relief in those slots, and he'll provide that.
So, Coach, it sounds like, at least in Mitch's case, coming back to California Baptist was a good thing. 'Cause I know it was a record-breaking season. He's the career home run record holder for CBU. Do you think maybe his stock went up a little bit coming back for another year?
Yeah, you could say that. I mean, everybody's draft story is unique. It's what people want out of the draft. Not to trivialize amounts of money, but some people, they always get wrapped up in the signing bonus, that 100,000 or 150 maybe that they get, and they forget about taxes and losing 40%, and they forget about maybe not having that degree done or finishing a legacy like Mitch did, able to hit close to 70 home runs and just leave himself marked in the CBU history books. So I think for Mitch, he was more concerned with trying to help us win a league title, get to our first regional, and setting some legacy marks. And he just didn't feel like he was ready to go. And now I think he not more mature. He's just more ready. And he didn't hurt his draft stock at all. If anything, he helped it.
All right, Coach, so beyond Mitch, I know the MLB draft is a funny thing, and it's hard to predict, and I know it, gosh, I think it used to be like 50 rounds. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but it used to be this big, huge draft, and I think it's, 20 maybe now? Does that sound correct?
Yeah, it's 20, and it's we got rid of a lot of minor league clubs, so there's not as many spots. Every time you draft somebody, you have to release somebody within your system. So there's really tight spots. So we got a couple intriguing guys, couple old guys, couple COVID guys that have had really good years, Jacob Wilson and Josh Pano, but for some clubs they're too old. So it'll be interesting to see if age plays a factor for those two guys. And then I would say Brandon Downer has a chance to be drafted as well. But he has a year left, so he'll probably have to just find the right situation, whatever he's looking for.
Coach, you've been obviously around the game for a long time. How much can you do on your part as like an advocate for these guys to, have contact with scouts, or if they reach out to you, like how much can you help them and be in their corner?
Well, we do everything we can on the front end. Like, we have, when at our practices, we have all the contact information of all our guys and all the pertinent information a scout wants. I send out an email every Sunday letting them know what our schedule is, who's pitching and when, and on that Sunday, who's doing well, maybe a velocity uptick, things like that. So I do a lot of that on the front end, and a lot of the back end work when the season's over. It's gotten out of our hands in the last few years. Everybody seems to have an advisor. Advisors are the name of the game. Even people that don't get drafted seem to have advisors. So we have some, I call them, ambulance chasing advisors, and we have some real advisors. And it seems like everybody has one, even though we're talking on a roster of 37, maybe 4 guys that get drafted. But so a lot of that back end stuff, I don't do much anymore. Now, having said that, when you're 53 and you're old and you've been in the game long enough, I got 5 texts today from scouts I've known for 30 years asking, is, so-and-so ready to go? What do you think of, they're dotting their I's and crossing their T's. They're about to get in that room and shut the door, and they'll have to really push for players they want. And they don't want to push for a player if they don't know some of those pertinent things, which they always seem to check through me. But maybe not as much as they used to.
Mm-hmm. Well, Coach, historically, I know CBU's had a lot of guys, turn pro, and at least since I've been in the IE the last 13 years, I mean, I can, Trevor Oakes and Tyson Miller are obviously 2 big names who made it all the way to the show. Historically speaking, off the top of your head, do you know, all time, how many CBU guys have been either maybe drafted or even signed as undrafted free agents to go into a big league camp?
Well, on our outfield wall, we list the drafts. So we've had 40 in the history of CBU baseball. You add the non-drafted signees, and that number will grow. And then we've had we're a fairly new program, especially at the D1 level. And some of these things, we've had 2 guys, I believe, step foot on a major league diamond. Trevor Oaks being one, and Tyson Miller. And Tyson Miller is having a phenomenal year for the Cubs right now. He's been in the major leagues basically the entire year. Pitched an inning today against Baltimore, a shutout inning. He's got a sub-2 ERA right now. So we've had some success recently. And I believe Tyson, I might steal your question here, is our highest drafted player ever as a 4th rounder. So Tyson Miller, the pitcher. So hopefully we get another one, if not a couple more.
I'm curious, does that help as a recruiting tool? Like when you go out to talk to kids, you're like, hey, we had 40 guys drafted and we got Tyson Miller right now pitching for the Cubs.
Yeah, it's a big deal because everybody, all joking aside, we had 37 players on our roster last year, obviously. I mentioned that, and they all have major league dreams. So now whether or not they get a chance to do that is a different story, but everybody dreams that. So when you're recruiting them, I have rarely run into a guy that says, I just want to play collegiately and get a job. That story doesn't exist. I want to take baseball as far as it can, as long as I can. And so to be able to share stories of people that were able to do that, albeit, 10% of your roster in a good year, you still share those stories.
And finally, Coach, to Mitch or any other guy that you've had in the past preparing for the MLB Draft, do you give him any advice or any tips like going into it? I know you could get lost reading these mock drafts and where you might end up, but what do you recommend to them?
I tell them all the same thing. I told Spencer Bengard this last year, who was drafted by the Twins. I told Mitch this 2 weeks ago. I said, get off the computer. For me, every time with the 25th pick, the Rockies take, you live and die with each pick. It just makes for a long day. And I told him, if you golf, go golf. I remember David Martin, our catcher, who was drafted by the Diamondbacks, was hitting in the cage. So I thought that's appropriate. You're just sitting in the cage and you get a call from the Diamondbacks. Spencer Bengard, I think last year, watched it from home. And that's, you could die a slow death doing that if you never see your name called. So I always suggest keeping yourself busy.
All right, that is Gary Adcock. He is the head baseball coach for the CBU Lancers, helping us preview the Major League Baseball draft, which is coming up on Sunday and Monday, 2-day draft. Hopefully we'll hear Mitch's name called sooner than later during the draft. Coach, thank you again. Congrats on all the success, the Hall of Fame, the Lancers, getting all the way to that champ. We didn't talk about getting to the championship game of the WAC tournament. We didn't get there.
We did, and we're going to have to do this again next year because Nick Dumanel is tearing up the Cape Cod League.
I saw that.
He'll be draft eligible for us next year, and I'm getting some rumors that he could push himself into top 3 rounds. So make sure we mark this down next year. We'll even have some more to celebrate beyond the guys that get drafted this year.
Yeah, Coach, on social media, it's do me this, do me that. He hit this bomb. He did this. I mean, he's tearing it up over there, which is if you're a casual baseball fan, the Cape Cod League's the most prestigious summer league, right?
Yeah. He's leading the league in stolen bases. He's in top 10 in average and in homers and in doubles. And, we've had 2 guys in the Western Athletic Conference in the last 3 years be first-round draft picks, Jacob Wilson from Grand Canyon and Nick Gonzalez from New Mexico State. And they followed that same script. They did well in the Cape Cod and Team USA and came home and became really high draft picks in the WAC. So not to steal any thunder from this year's draft, we're going to root for those guys first. But Tyson's record might be in jeopardy come next year.
All right, everybody, that's Gary Adcock, the skipper for the CBU Lancers here on the Inland Sports Show. Inland Sports. And a big thanks to head coach Gary Adcock for that interview. When we come back, we'll talk a little high school football. One of our favorite guys out there, Brian Hildebrand from Rancho Cucamonga, stepping away from football for a little bit to deal with some medical issues. We have the details on that. Plus, just recently, he did a boost training tip with our guy, the boost man, Ray Bass. So we're going to replay that one in just a moment. So we'll be right back here on the Inland Sports Show. And this segment of the Inland Sports Show is brought to you by Ken Sporting Goods in Norco. #1 in the Inland Empire for team uniforms, sports equipment, and Letterman's jackets. Boost Performance Training in Corona. Athletes of all levels and all sports train at Boost. And also ask about the Bass Private School. Paulson Orthodontics in Redlands. Personalized treatment you deserve from an orthodontist you can trust.
Should your child lift weights before hitting their growth spurt? I get this question a lot from parents, and the simple answer is yes. Think of it as a long accumulation phase where athletes get modest gains in strength, power, and coordination. And when their growth spurt does hit, often it's to a larger degree than athletes who didn't lift weights at all. So remember, develop early, specialize late. Your boy, Boostman.
And welcome back to the Inland Sports Show, everybody. I'm your host, Pep Fernandez. We're talking some high school football. The 2024 season is literally right around the corner. I think week 0 is Friday, August 23rd. Although Beaumont, I think it was Redlands, are going to open up the season a week earlier than that out in Hawaii. So that's pretty cool for them. But one of our favorite guys, Brian Hildebrand, announcing that he's going to be stepping away from football for a little bit to deal with a health issue. Here's the tweet that he put out. I'm just going to read it word for word because I don't want to get anything wrong here. Let's see. Oh, let me take that down real quick. Let's see. There we go. The past 7 months, I've been dealing with some difficult medical conditions. Turns out I have a neurological disorder that has caused some additional issues. I've taken some time from football to address my health. Thank you to everyone that has reached out, and RCHS, which is Rancho Cucamonga High School, for all of the support. That is Rancho Cucamonga head coach Brian Hildebrand, the former Corona High School star, a guy who's done the Inland Sports Show before, and we're a big fan of his, and nothing but thoughts and prayers going to Coach Hildebrand. Coach, hopefully we're praying that you make a speedy recovery, and we see you out there on the sidelines again very, very soon for the Cougars. But just wanted to put that along because I know we are a tight-knit high school football community here in the Inland Empire. So anyone that is a football fan, a friend of Coach Hildebrand or whatnot, I know they will be supporting and encouraging him and praying for him as well. So with that said, we played this video a couple months ago, but it's worth revisiting as we get closer to the high school football season. It's with Coach Hildebrand and our guy, Ray Bass, the Boost man for Boost Performance Training. They sat down with one another out at Rancho Cucamonga High School for a very special gridiron question to talk about, scholarships and recruiting and exposure and getting noticed. And Coach Hildebrand gave some great insight. In fact, it got a lot of great traction on social media. So we're going to revisit this, our great interview with the Boost man and Coach Hildebrand in our gridiron question from Boost Performance Training. Hey, what's up, guys? We are on location at Rancho Cucamonga High School for another Gridiron question with the Boost Man, Coach Ray Bass. Here's the Boost Man standing by with Cougars head coach Brian Hildebrand. Boost Man.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Pep. We're here with Coach Hildebrand at Rancho Cucamonga High School, and one of the things that I see that parents get wrong with their kids' development is chasing scholarships. So whether that is thinking that they need to market their kid a lot, or maybe paying private coaches for their networks that are often, ambiguous at best. But Coach, you've had a lot of great athletes who come through your program, earn scholarships. Tell us, what do athletes have to do in this program in order to earn a scholarship?
Yeah, thanks a lot. So, one of the things that the guys got to do is go out there and be the complete student athlete. They got to be the full package. Anytime that I have college coaches coming to talk to me, they're asking about their character, they're asking about their academics, they're asking about their work ethic and what they do on campus and how they are. And, when kids go out there and they're chasing scholarships, they got to really prioritize the things that are going to lead to them being found and sought out by those coaches, because a lot of times kids aren't going to go find it themselves. But you better believe that most of these coaches are going to do their homework. They're going to know who the kids are. They're going to go out there and do their due diligence to study them, understand what makes them tick, understand what kind of person they are. You got to be a great athlete. So it's about going out there and playing football at a high level. Having the measurables is one thing that everyone needs to have. Whether you like it or not, a lot of these coaches are asking about their size, their height, their weight. They want to know what they're running in the 40, what they're running in the 100, and just looking at all the measurables in terms of size. We've been able to have quite a few student athletes that may be undersized that have been able to get scholarships, and that's because, number one, they perform on the field, and then secondly, they do a great job in the classroom. So here at Rancho, we really try to prioritize academics. Guys do a great job in the classroom, and when you have a 3.0 or above, it opens up a lot of doors for you.
Hearing that, I love the fact that you guys are academics first, and just the idea that, talking about being a great athlete, which is really important. On our way up here, you were talking about a lot of your football players, being multi-sport athletes. I love that. I love to see, young student athletes who play multiple sports. How important is that, do you feel, for your program and as it relates to kids getting offers and getting scholarships?
Yeah, so colleges are multidimensional. They want somebody that's multifaceted, that can do it all. And so when they look at a guy and they understand they take care of business in the classroom, they can then look at the film, and then if they play other sports, that's a huge plus as well. We have guys that have been on our track team that play football for us for the past 3 years that have been some of the top track guys in the state. And so a lot of these coaches, one of the first things they ask is if they have verified track times. And so when a guy goes out there and they have a verified 100-meter dash, that's easy for a coach to go out there and say, well, this kid has an opportunity to play with great speed, and he has the endurance to go and compete at a high level in track and field. And a lot of those skills, especially speed and agility, are going to transfer over to football. And so we try to play a fast brand of football on both sides of the ball. Offense, we're going to, try to create and generate explosive plays.
You're speaking my language. You're talking academics. You're talking, being a good athlete. You're talking speed, and that whole package. I think those things are really important. That's exactly what we talk about, here in our Gridiron series. Appreciate the opportunity. Yep. You got anything else for us?
Yeah, no, just really excited to go out there and compete this off season. Looking forward to it. We got a great team and great class coming up, so go Cougars.
Nice. Good luck, Coach.
Thank you.
Back to you, Pep.
Man, good stuff by the Boost Man and Coach Hildebrand there. If you have a question for the Boost Man, you can find us on social media. That's Boost Training. Find the DMs and send us your question for a future Gridiron question. All right, great insight from Coach Hildebrand and the Boost Man, Ray Bass from Boost Performance Training. And again, Coach Hildebrand, we're thinking of you and supporting you, and nothing but thoughts and prayers, and hoping to see you on the sidelines again soon when you are ready. All right, big thanks to our guest tonight, head coach Nate Turner from San Bernardino Valley College football, and of course the Hall of Famer Gary Adcock from CBU baseball, as we anxiously await the Major League Baseball draft, which will begin on Sunday. We should have several local guys from the IE hear their names called, and of course Mitch Simon from CBU, the home run king for the Lancers, should be, as you heard from Coach Adcock, somewhere in the top 10 rounds is what his guess is, maybe as high as 7. We'll see. All right, big thanks to our guests. Big thanks to our sponsors as well, Ken Sporting Goods, Boost Performance Training, and Paulson Orthodontics. If you'd like to join our team and partner with the Inland Sports Show so you can support great local sports and help us share these stories and these great interviews, hit us up, inlandsportshow@gmail.com. We'd love to partner with your business or organization. If you would love high school sports, if you're like-minded, welcome aboard. We'd love to have you on. All right, my name is Pep Fernandez. Thank you for watching this edition of the Inland Sports Show, and we'll see you next time. God bless you guys, and stay safe out there.